Hello, this is Crimson Storm Surge, and firstly, you're probably wondering why the heck I am playing Overwatch when I'm doing a video about Power Rangers. That's because this game effectively just has a Power Rangers season. That's why, because they got like this Power Rangers skins for like a ton of characters. Because like Genji has one, Ash has one, like loads and loads of characters have them, and I think they look really cool. They're probably some of my favorite skins on the game. But anyway, so you may have heard that Hasbro was supposed to be doing a live-action reboot of Power Rangers on Netflix. You may have also heard that said live-action reboot of Power Rangers fell through and is no longer in development, and they're instead just basically remaking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for like the 5,000th time. And nobody cares. So instead, I thought I would do my pitch for what I would do if I were in charge of making a new live-action Power Rangers reboot. Because honestly, if I like became a famous like director, I'd genuinely love to. But anyway, wrong button. God damn it. But anyway, so I think like I would, for a start, completely start from scratch again. So don't reboot any of the existing Power Rangers stuff. Just completely like I was gonna say reset it, but like do it in a different dimension entirely to the previous stuff. Because Power Rangers already has a multiverse. So it's like, it's not like I'm even just doing the multiverse for the sake of doing the multiverse. Like, it's actually a thing that's in Power Rangers and has been for years. So I just set this in like a completely different reality to like the existing Power Ranger stuff. Yeah, so I'd start off like with the first movie. Kind of do a similar thing to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where you have like these, completely new group of people. So I was thinking, say, you have this guy that's like just moved to a new like high school, and he's like trying to, fit in and stuff, and he makes like the nerd, and he meets like the nerdy guy, and they become like friends. And then he meets, like, the school bullies, and then some, like, girl who becomes, like, his girlfriend, and all that stuff. So you kind of make, like, the start of it sort of more like a high school drama kind of thing. And then you have them, say, go on, like, I don't know, a school trip or something. Like, all these characters at the school you've, like, established in this opening bit. And then this, like, group of 5 kids, so, like, the main, like, new guy to the town, his, like, nerd friend, a girl, and then, like, a school bully duo of sort of, like, a girl and a boy. I was thinking kind of like a Sharpay and, like, her brother from High School Musical. They could sort of do, like, a duo like them two as, like, the bullies. So then the 5 of them stumble upon some, like, ancient, like, spaceship, like, wreckage. And then encounter, like, a robot that's basically, like, this movie's, like, knockoff version of Zordon. And then knockoff Zordon basically is like, by the way, I was, part of this, like, ancient group sent by the Morphin Masters, and then you go into like the lore of that, which is something like the show has never really touched on, but the comics have extensively. So you kind of introduce the Morphin Masters, these like ancient aliens that wanted to like protect the universe and whatever. Who then recruited, like, some other, like, ancient aliens and robots and stuff to protect it. But then in, like, the modern day, some threat that was, like, sealed away a millennia ago, suddenly, like, reawakening. So kinda similar to Rita Repulsa, but not, like, exactly. So, like, so then this, like, robot alien mentor guy then, like, explains to these, like, kids that they need to work out their differences and learn to work together to then, like, become the new generation of Power Rangers and, like, save the universe. So then they kind of get, like, the morphers, and, like, learn to use their powers. Because, I mean, I get that, like, kind of the point is that, like, the characters should know how to use their abilities, like, instantly because of how the Morphing Grid works and stuff, but I kind of rather they needed to actually learn how, like, all of their tech works fully, rather than just, oh yeah, we just know how this works, like, instantly. So then you kind of do that, and then they, like, fight, maybe they, like, fight a monster or something sent by, like, the villain, and they fail to beat it. Like, fully, so then they need to, like, you know, truly learn to work as a team, and then actually, like, beat this, like, henchman. So then they kind of, like, defeat the main villain, but not, like, permanently, they just kind of temporarily defeat them. So then you do a sequel movie that's just a direct sequel to the first film, where they're then, you know, trying to then take the fight, like, more directly to this villain, and they're now, like, established as a team, they've worked out their differences, and all that. And then you add a new ranger, so say, like, the villain had, like, a henchman or something that then decides to be a good guy and join the Power Rangers and become the new Gold Ranger. Or I'd prefer, like, a joint, like, two-colored, like, gold and black ranger, just because I think that'll look really cool. But, that's just, like, me aesthetically. But anyway, so then you kind of do that whole thing with, like, doing a direct sequel. But then, so after that movie, I then do a TV show, which goes completely away from the characters established in these first two movies, and shows a completely different team of, Rangers. So set that in, like, South America, and then have a team mostly made up of, like, more, like, ethnic minorities and stuff, which is, like, animal-themed, so that's kind of like your Jungle Fury sort of, like, equivalent, like, thing. So, you know, they live in, like, the school, like, this martial arts school, and then they, train, because this, like, martial arts school was, like, set up, by, like, another one of these, like, ancient aliens, but, like, initially people don't know that, and then they, like, find it out later, to deliberately train, like, some people to become Power Rangers. So then, like, these, like, kind of people become Power Rangers, but they, like, know how to fight and use their abilities, like, much better than the, like, ones from the films, because they've been to, like, a training school. So then you kind of have, like, them going on their, like, aspects of maybe, like, if they've, like, I know, lived and, like, trained in this, like, ancient sort of martial arts school, because they're all, like, orphans or something, they then have to, like, learn how to adapt to, like, regular society while also being, like, while also protecting it as Power Rangers. Because, like, obviously they can't just stay in, like, the secluded school in the middle of nowhere, you know, if they want to, like, protect and save the world. So that could be quite interesting. So kind of do that. Then I do, like, a third movie. So, something that's kind of touched on in, like, the existing Power Ranger stuff is obviously the characters do go to space. But, like, and yeah, there are the occasional alien that becomes a Power Ranger. But I don't think there's ever been, I mean, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's ever been an entire team made up of aliens. So that's something I'd really want to do for, like, another movie, is you have a whole team made up of aliens. Or maybe not a whole team, so you have, like, one of the Rangers from the first two movies and one of the Rangers from the show. Team up to then go to space to, like, try and take the fight, like, directly to this, like, ancient, like, villain. That was, like, you know, sealed away an age ago or whatever. And then they find another planet that's also being attacked, so then they make more, like, morphers for these aliens on this planet so that they can defend themselves. And then they have to, like, pass on the knowledge they were taught and the training they received onto this, like, sort of band of just, like, random, you know, defenseless aliens and teach them how to become, like, Power Rangers. And then, you know, they, like, you know, team up and all that. And then they eventually do defeat the you know, like, and kind of rescue this planet. So then you kind of do like a fourth film that's basically like Power Rangers Endgame, where you then have, at least for like this first phase, where you then have like a few of the Rangers from like each of these teams, all like go together on this mission to finally like finish off this sort of main existing bad guy, because again, there's like another thing that the Power Rangers like things existingly never really did. Like, although they all exist in the same universe and did the occasional crossover, like the main like thing didn't really carry over like between them. So I'd kind of want it to actually like carry over. So like everybody, at least in the first phase, is fighting like the same villain, basically just over like 5 projects. And obviously that kind of makes them like a bigger threat too, because like most of the Power Rangers villains are like absolute pathetic chumps. Whereas if you have like this galaxy-wide like fleet armada, kind of like the Empire in Star Wars, that's just taking over and trying to conquer the universe, like the Power Rangers are like the only thing standing in their way kind of thing. So then if you do like a phase 2 and maybe like a phase 3, you kind of go back to more like the traditional Power Rangers formula of just kind of doing like far more sort of standalone like projects with a ton of like different teams with different themes. So, you know, maybe you have like a time theme, like another animal theme, like a dinosaur theme. You know, you go into more like the themes that the original like show used a lot. And just kind of get that out of the way. And then I'd also kind of like, them, you know, if like this became like super popular and was around like as long as the MCU kind of thing, them to then do like a movie more bringing back like some of the characters from like the original, you know, Power Rangers stuff, like appearing in like a multiversal big like crossover thing of like the sort of cross-dimensional team of like Power Rangers having to fight like Lord Draken or some like other evil like team of Power Rangers or something. But that's kind of my pitch for that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If that's something you'd watch, but also like tone-wise, I think kind of the reason the live-action movie in 2017 failed is because it was trying to appeal to an older audience. So I think for this like reboot, what they should do is do kind of both at the same time. So you kind of try and appeal to like both younger people and older people at the same time. So you kind of make it generally like the tone of the original, like TV show, where, you know, there's kind of quite slapsticky, silly, but then also add like far more, also add some like emotional moments, and maybe even like at some point one of the Power Rangers like actually dies, which is obviously something that the comics have done, but obviously the original like TV show never did, because, you know, you can just have like your Power Ranger just dying. Although I do believe in the Netflix Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury, whatever it's called, one of the Rangers actually does lose an arm, which I think is like the most violent Power Rangers ever be. But I would actually like have one just outright die in like one of the films. Just so like it's kind of, you know, it's more aimed at kids, but then also like older people and like parents and stuff can kind of also get, you know, something from it. It's not just kind of, I can't say mindless. Like, I mean, I watched Power Rangers when I was younger. Like, I wouldn't call it completely mindless, but, you know, it has like serious moments if it needs them, and like obviously it is full kind of consequence to like the characters' actions. And then also, as I said, you can kind of, if you're doing like a big connected universe with like the characters being focused on and kind of reappearing a lot, you can also do things like say, you know, fully explore their civilian lives, like their parents, their only siblings, their relations at school, you know, all that kind of stuff as well, which I know Power Rangers kind of touched on, but it was mostly just like the main characters that are like actually Power Rangers. You didn't really see like a supporting cast much. So I would also kind of, you know, try and introduce a bit of a supporting cast across some of the films, like a few recurring, you know, like if the Rangers are recurring, you have like a few like other non-Ranger characters that are sort of recurring, like, you know, people's parents or just teachers or other just random civilians. And also, like, again, that's another thing that, like, Power Rangers never really did. Although, like, the Power Rangers were, I guess, like, public superheroes, you kind of never really heard, like, the public actually acknowledge they exist, like, 90% of the time. So I'd actually have the public, you know, acknowledge that they exist. So, like, you know, they make it on, like, say at the end of, like, the first movie, they, like, actually make it on the news or something. Like, oh, you know, this new group of, like, superhumans has just suddenly appeared and saved us from an alien invasion. Yippee! Kind of thing, as opposed to, oh, I suppose we should acknowledge that these people have just saved the universe, but we won't. And then also actually have, like, collateral damage to, like, cities, because you have, like, creatures that grow gigantic, you know, to fight, like, the Megazords. And then just, like, the towns. How did that hit me? The towns just never look like they've taken any damage. They all just are perfectly fine by, like, the end of the episode. So to actually have the cities and stuff genuinely, like, kind of like in the Godzilla movies, where, like, they actually take damage. I'm not just saying you show a ton of, you know, civilian casualties, because it's, like, too child-friendly for that. But, you know, you actually show buildings, like, being knocked over and stuff. Because I think that would be cool. And maybe, like, at some point, you know, one of the villains in, like, one of the like, Phase 2 or 3 movies, like, learns the Rangers' identity and then actually tries to, like, attack them at school or something. Because, again, that could be interesting, because, again, that's not really something any of the villains ever really tried to do in the original show, despite the fact they always know the Rangers' identities. Because they only put the helmet on after they do the dramatic "it's morphin' time" thing. You know, they see their faces. So, like, I actually do something with that, too. And then, as I said, also just, like, go into, like, kind of lore of the comics a bit, like, how, you know, who the Morphin Masks are, like, how the Morphers are made, like, what they're made of, like, all of that, just, like, random stuff. And maybe not, like, instantly, you know, don't go into that for, like, you know, maybe, like, bring up the Morphin Masks, like, briefly in, like, the first film, then don't, you know, do, like, a ton of stuff like that for a while, but then, you know, like, if the universe, like, develops quite a lot and stuff, then, like, start going into kind of lore things like that. Because then, as I said, also, like, you know, if people are then, like, watching the thing over, like, the course of several years, and, like, people are kind of growing up with it, they'll then probably get to the stage of being, like, more sort of, I was going to say intelligent. I mean, I'm not calling, like, children, like, idiots, but, you know, like, they kind of are more, like, oh, you know, they actually want to learn, like, lore and stuff, as opposed to just seeing things go boom. So yeah, as I said, let me know in the comments below what y'all think of that, and that will be the end of the video. Toodaloo!